Dave Barry, the one and only humorist who's written 1 billion books and columns, won 1,000 awards, joins us now to talk about this whale of a tale. Dave, thank you so much for chatting with us about this. This is like kind of a big part of your life.
This is not only a big part of my life, it is probably the most significant thing that ever happened in the lifetimes of most living Americans.
I know, you have called it the most wonderful event in the history of the universe, but you didn't actually write about it until 20 years after it happened, right? How did you hear about it?
I very vaguely recall that. You're right. First of all, it happened and I didn't know about it for years and years. Somehow I got wind of it and saw the video with Paul Lindman on that beach. And I was transfixed. I couldn't believe it. This was like early internet, I think, when I saw it. I thought, this is the most important thing I've ever seen. This most wonderful moment. I didn't believe in God until then. And now I know there is a God and he's really funny that he would let this happen on this earth when I got to see it. So I'm so grateful I got to see it. And I wrote about it, and it's still the most wonderful thing I've ever written about.
This really was one of your I'm not making this up moments. What was the reaction after you wrote about it? I think this was 1990, right? Yeah, something
right around there. And I'm so grateful there was film of it, because no one would ever believe this could happen if it were not that the event was actually filmed. And it's just a tribute to what humans can accomplish when they have a dead whale and a lot of dynamite. And I just want to say, this is like also like people, talk about male toxic masculinity or anything. Men like to blow things up. It's an instinct we have. And if you give us dynamite and you give us a whale, we're going to put those two things together. And that's what happened here. It was just too wonderful.
So, no pun intended, but it really did blow up after you wrote about it. I think hundreds of millions of people around the world watched the video, the story. So you helped create what is arguably the first viral video, the first viral news story. Do you feel like you helped, create a part of history here?
Yeah, I will take great pride forever. And this is probably the most significant accomplishment I have, is that not that I really had anything to do with it other than noticing it, but yes, that I was able to, this will never be forgotten. There's Pearl Harbor, there's Mount Everest, there's the Panama Canal, there's landing men on the moon, and there's the whale on the beach in Oregon. These are moments that humanity will never forget, and I will take some credit for that.
Besides the blubber blasting beyond all believable bounds, what did you specifically love about the story, the way Paul Lindman and his photographer Doug Brazil put it together?
First of all, Paul is brilliant, and the photography is brilliant. Paul rose to the occasion as I think few people could have. But my favorite single thing is the gentleman, the head engineer, I think he is, with the hard hat, talking before the event about, well, we're not sure how much dynamite we need. We're going with half a ton of like this. Like, clearly this man, and I'm sure he's a wonderfully accomplished human being, has never really, at that point in his life, had to confront how much dynamite you need to blow up a dead whale. We're a little bit on the high side. So that's one wonderful thing, that kind of the serious, we're just guys doing a job, we're engineers, we know what we're doing here aspect. But the other is how much whale was still there. I mean, on one hand, they managed to blow up and send blubber everywhere and crush a car with it. And on the other hand, it really didn't have much effect on the whale. Much of the whale is still there. I think the main effect it had was on the seagulls, who left the site and probably have not to this day returned to that part of Oregon.
Yeah, when you hear them describe the aftermath and the smell and how it really made things so much worse, I think that's why we're laughing at it still 50 years later. I mean, you're really laughing right now, and you've probably talked about this a million times. What do you tell people who've never heard this story? Like, how do you tell this story to them?
I just say it is absolutely true. It's the most wonderful thing in the annals of human accomplishments. It was a wonderful thing. And I always tell it as how to solve a problem. That when you face a problem, like an unexpected big problem, like a dead whale on a beach, think back to this moment later on and just remember, whatever you do, don't do what the Oregon State Highway Division did.
It's so basic. What do you think the exploding whale and the story and the legend teaches us?
It teaches us humility. We're like, even if we, are possessed of all the accoutrements of modern civilization, we don't necessarily know what we're doing out here.
We all screw up, that's for sure.
Yes, we do.
Dave, the new park in Florence is named Exploding Whale Memorial Park. I can't believe it took 50 years for this to happen. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I have, and I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
I mean, of all the things you could use your tax money for, I think that's got to be way up on the list.
Well, hopefully you'll get to come out and visit. We'd love to see you.
I will. If I ever get near Eugene,
Park.
Oregon again, I am definitely going to see that park.
Dave Barry, just like the Exploding Whale story, you are an American treasure. Thanks so much for chatting with us about this. We really appreciate it.
Not in terms of how I smell, you don't mean that. Thank you. Thanks, Angelica.